Hi everybody, this is part 3 of remodelling an ordinary bungalow, and unfortunately it's going to be the last part for very good reasons. Um, it is now the 3rd of January 2026. Happy New Year everybody. Let the car go past. Thank you very much. Tyre noise. Late October, in fact at the end of October, I was diagnosed with a very aggressive brain tumour, which is successfully operated on. They got 95% out, and I'm undergoing radio and chemotherapy not as we speak, but at the moment. And this project became totally unfeasible. The reason that it was financially viable was that I was going to do a lot of the work myself. All the structural woodwork, first fix, second fix, yada yada yada. The majority, the things I wouldn't do would be the brickwork and so on, and that is now not possible. So it's just a big disappointment. So the house is going to go up for sale very soon, and somebody else can have the fun of that. Now, the big difference between now and the last time I talked about this is the fact that we now have planning permission. Now, I don't know whether I showed you the plans, but if I didn't, my apologies. They eventually got passed with some modifications. We were going to put a big dormer across the front. That is now not possible. The council really got their arses out about that, said it was totally incongruous, can't have that, yada yada yada, spoils the streetscape. Yeah, right. This is absolute horseshit, to be honest. It's just, there's no rules or logic behind it. It's just personal prejudice, and I find that very objectionable. But I'm not in any mood or mind to challenge that. I could take it to appeal, but to be honest, I've got other fish to fry at the moment. So let's go and have a look where we're at, because there's a couple of things that have happened that you won't know about. Now, you've been through the house before, so I'm not going to do that. Oh, it's nice and warm in here. Oh, yes. Heating's been on, just on frost protection. The majority, well, what we were doing was, and this is the front main bedroom. It's a bit of a mess. We were collecting building materials, low cost, no cost, left over from projects and such like. And this did have a lot of insulation in here, which has been saved because it will be needed, but not on this project. These bags of timber bits, this is traditional 5-finger parquet, which was lifted from the dining room because it's mahogany. It's too valuable to let some builder throw it away. So we're not going to do that. There's a lot more of it to be had. I've got plans for that. And then other stuff has been accumulated. Right, so onwards. That is the mantle beam out of the front lounge. That's oak. It's been surfaced on the other side with an adze. Look that up. Very nice it is too. That was what the TV was on in the corner. That's for 5 planks of oak, again surfaced with an adze. It was very well put in and very resistant to coming out. However, resistance is futile, as we all know. So what we've done, this is not stripping out, this is saving materials from going in a skip or getting burnt. I'm damned if I'm going to allow that to happen. Got oak skirtings, piranha pine windowsill. You cannot easily or cheaply get piranha pine now because it's an endangered species. There was a mahogany capping on that wall which I made in 2012 out of a tabletop donated by one of my father-in-law's customers, a guy called Sammy Satterthwaite. Now there's a name to conjure with. And then likewise, I made this, oops, excuse me, this capping piece which needs to come out. That was awkward. That's mahogany as well, but I don't think it's the same. Anyway, we'll deal with that later. However, what I want to show you is that, oh yeah, well, we've had the gas and electric moved. I think you may have seen that before. And if not, well, my apologies. I'll come back to that if I remember. And we had a bit of snow last night, randomly. Don't know, it wasn't there, then it was. Right, so accumulating building materials. It seems like the ability of people to estimate how much they need in terms of MOT, which is limestone, gravel, 40 mil to dust, sharp sand and so on, seems to be a bit lacking at times, and people end up getting too much. Well, we acquired a lot of that, and I'm very grateful to the people that have let me have it, or let me have it at low cost. But this is material that's on hand here that will be needed for the project that takes place. Whoever takes this on is going to need this, or we will. We'll see about that. What I also acquired, which you've seen and gone, why has he got those, is 3 1,000 litre IBCs. Now, if you don't know what an IBC is, you will have seen one of these before. IBC stands for Intermediate Bulk Container, and you can get them in various sizes. Now, we had to do what was known as a SUDS proposal, Sustainable Urban Drainage Solution, I think. I might be not right on that, but anyway, basically the council do not want rainwater going into the drains because it floods the drains and it causes all sorts of trouble. They want to keep it in the environment. So effectively what we're going to do is imagine a big dormer going across there. All the guttering that, and a bedroom extension coming out here. All the guttering that we can, we're going to run to the back and have it going into these 3 containers. So 3,000 litres of rainwater storage, which will be very good for the garden. Now, if you consider the summer that we had last year, it was very hot, no rain for weeks and weeks, and having 3,000 litres of rainwater that you can water your plants and keep your lawn fresh is a big bonus, and it costs nothing. Well, those were 30 quid each and clean, which is a miracle. But the one thing that I have got to do to validate my technical proposal, I had to research it and write it, and over a weekend, is to do what's known as an infiltration test. So basically what's going to happen when those get full, any overflow is going to run through a perforated drain to soakaway crates buried down here. Actually, probably roughly about where I'm stood now. And let me just put a X marks the spot. So roughly there. So 2 cubic meters of plastic. Imagine a milk crate or a beer crate. Imagine that, a cubic meter. So basically that size, whereas it's just a framework. So that'll be buried underground. Below the soil level. So we're in sand batch. Sand, I'm sure you can work it out. So we've got about 400 mil of soil, and then we're on compacted sand. And if I show you into the farmer's field behind us, you will see in the distance a pile of sand, what he has excavated. So what we need to do is dig 2 cubic meters of sand out, which can get used on site, and then put the crates in, wrap them in a geotextile, cover it over, connect it up to the outflow of that lot. Job's a good one. But what I need to do first to validate my proposal is to do what's known as an infiltration test. So what I have to do is dig a 150 millimeter diameter hole, a meter deep, then tip 300 mil of water in, so 300 millimeters above the bottom, and see how quickly that water gets absorbed into the natural. Do that 3 times. Then dig that hole to a depth of 2 meters. run the test again. Take the overall average time, and that will give you, through a formula, the infiltration rate. And the infiltration rate, through another formula, will give you the size of soakaway that you need. What I'm going to do in addition to that is an additional test, which is the 1 in 100 years storm conditions. So with my 2 metre deep hole, I'm going to fill it up to grass level, see how long that takes to go away. And then that will hopefully we will never get that condition, because, well, it's got the we've got perforated pipes running to the soakaways, and so any water that's coming along will infiltrate into the soil, and then we have a big pit, 2 cubic meters, 2,000 litres. It's going to be enormous. What I'm going to do also, and I don't know whether I've got an example that I can show you. Oh, we've got little bits, not the one I want. So those red pipes, they are 110 mil in diameter, right? So what I'm going to do when I dig me hole, the sort of infiltration test round tube hole, is to put those pipes down, and then I can tip water into those, because with the natural being sand, if I just tip water in, like on a beach, you dig a hole, pour water in, the sides collapse. Well, we don't want that because it'll falsify the test. So if I use those plastic pipes, it will enable me to tip water in, just flood fill it quickly, and then we haven't got a problem. We can just let it do its thing, so there's no force on the side. So that's that. Right, now then. Okay, so that's infiltration test. This, I connected up to that guttering. That is full to the brim. Full to the brim. Oh, with a little crust of ice on top. Am I undoing it? No, I'm not. Yeah, so that's absolutely full. 1,000 litres of water in there, and that was a test to see how quickly it filled up. Yeah, about four overnight rainstorms. Well, not rainstorms, but just rain. It didn't take long. So 3,000 litres of storage might not be enough. Well, it can always add on. I mean, what we're going to do is cascade those together, because, sorry, forgot to say, what we have is a valve. So if I chain the 3 together, daisy chain, just open the valves, as one fills up, it fills the others up. Right, God, my hand is blooming cold this morning. My hands are freezing. Right, let's just go outside. I will tell you the next bit of the story, because I don't know whether I've said this before. Right. Oh, what was that? What the hell was that? Something just... Oh, I see. Oh, that's fine. Right. Originally, the electricity to this house came overhead from that little black box, well, from there across to the chimney. And my concern was that, you can have a look at this, I might be able to see it, there's a whacking great crack up the middle of that chimney, and I was concerned that over 30 plus years it was very slowly pulling the chimney apart. So a small force over a long time can achieve more than you'd think. It doesn't get ignored. So the very nice people at the electricity infrastructure company came and had a look and went, yeah, you could be right. Well, let's do something about it. Anyway, long story short, we agreed that we'd put it underground if I did some of the work. So I dug a trench, took the concrete of the drive out, dug a trench, put a conduit in, and then the cable comes up there, goes into the house to the meter position that you saw a few minutes ago. We also found that the gas supply pipe, the old gas meter boxes in the porch there, runs under the conservatory and then down the other side of the house. And that's called a built-over service. And they really don't like those. So the gas infrastructure company, completely different, basically said, yeah, we'll move it for free. So the gas supply comes down around the back of the house to that new patch of concrete. It wasn't new at the time, so it's like 245 degrees, then goes across to about the middle of the wall there, and then there's a little connection outside. So what they did, they turned 90 degrees, came under the border, turned another 90 degrees, and ran up to new meter position there, utilising trench I'd already dug. Happy days. So I put the new meter box in, which I've yet to seal round, do that. And then the gas goes into the house and then connects up to the boiler and the fires. So happy days. But sadly, that's as far as I'm going to take this, because I can't do this project now. I'm not allowed to drive my van. Compulsory 2-year driving ban. Now on medical grounds, not for anything bad, because of the risk of seizure. I.e. me having a seizure, which we don't want because I'm a risk to other drivers. So unfortunately, this project is going to be handed on to somebody else. But what they're going to get is a house with planning permission for a project, and it's a good project, and it will result in a very nice modern property if they do that project. Well, I hope so, because we put a lot of bloody effort into getting planning permission, a lot of trauma as well. So I just had to change hands on the camera mount because my hand is freezing. And there we go. So that is remodelling an ordinary bungalow not. I'll do a separate video on the infiltration test because that's something that many other people may have to do. And I'll talk you through that because it could be useful to you. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And it's just a shame I never got to do this. However, the money that we get from selling this goes into remodelling that, which is where we're living. And that's a whole nother story. We'll have to come back to that later on. But for the meantime, thank you very much. Yeah, oh well, never mind. Onwards and upwards. The main thing is that, bloody car noise, the main thing is I'm alive. And at one point that was not a given. So yeah, there we go. Upright and breathing, which is the main thing. The rest of it we can work on. Anyway, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you all. Hope 2026 is good for you. We'll catch up. Cheers now.